Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Wise Decision Maker Show, where we help you make the wisest and most profitable decisions. My name is Dr. Gleb Tsipursky. I'm the CEO of Disaster Avoidance Experts, the future of work consultancy that sponsors the Wise Decision Maker Show. And today I want to share with you about why a flexible hybrid work model is key to employee retention. Now, there have been shifting attitudes toward office work. A recent survey of US workers by the job site list Monster, it shows that 26% of workers would rather undergo root canal than work in an office 5 days a week. That's over a quarter of employees. That's huge. 38% would quit a job that required just 1 day on site. So a large number of people want full-time remote work. And these statistics show a clear shift in worker attitudes toward the traditional office environment. And here, this intersects with the shifting trends in the plans for small, medium enterprises in how many employees to have. The top concern for leaders in small, medium enterprises is hiring and retaining talented staff. So, survey by Vistage, which is a peer executive group of the leaders of small and medium enterprises across the world, but centered in the US, it shows that over 60% plan to increase headcount in next year. Only 7% plan on reducing headcount, so either firing employees or keeping hiring static so that people leave through attrition. Small, medium enterprises aren't following in the lead of large companies, especially in the tech sector, that are making headlines with layoffs. They're reluctant to lay off hard-won employees who they successfully managed to grab in the talent wars. I mean, the Great Resignation, quiet quitting, and so on is a serious issue. So the reasons behind the small medium enterprise strategy, 61 of SME CEOs, SME is small medium enterprises, say that hiring challenges are a major concern for their ability to be effective in their operations. And the US unemployment rate is pretty low. It's at 3.6% right now, the lowest since February 2020. So labor markets are very tight. It will take a lot to change this. And the solution is a flexible hybrid work model for worker recruitment and retention. And that's the future, where most come to the office 1 or 2 days a week. Some do full-time remote work, a minority. This is what keeps workers engaged and happy. It benefits the bottom lines of companies, therefore, because workers are engaged, happy, retained, and you get recruitment of great talent. So flexible hybrid work helps increase productivity. Studies show that hybrid workers, so workers while they're working remotely, hybrid workers tend to work more efficiently and be less likely to experience burnout. I'm not talking about full-time remote workers here, I'm talking about people who work remotely a substantial amount of time, something like over half the work week. Now, this flexible hybrid work allows workers a personalized work environment, where they have the ability to create their own environment for their individual tasks at a location that's most comfortable to them, their own home, overwhelmingly for most people. Some people will want to work in a co-working space, some people want to work in the office, most people want to work in their home. And this leads to fewer distractions, increased focus, and higher productivity. And that boosts employee engagement. We clearly see that flexibility has a positive impact on employee engagement. A lot of surveys by Gallup, Sherman, others show that. Employees are more likely to be engaged and motivated when they have the ability to work in the environment that suits them best. And that involves them creating their own environment in their own home. So this leads to decreased turnover, increased employee loyalty, and improved job satisfaction. And there's a big benefit for employers where you access wider talent pool through flexible work, because you can hire talent anywhere if you allow them full-time remote work, or if you allow them pretty flexible hybrid work arrangements where maybe they come to the office for a day a week, then they can still work they can still live a couple of hours away from your office and just commute for one long commute a week. It allows you to attract and retain the best talent from around the country and even around the world. And I helped 25 companies figure out their transitions to hybrid work and remote work. 23 of them chose a hybrid first model, 2 of them chose a remote first model, But the 23 that shows a hybrid-first model, still many of them allow some employees to work full-time remotely. A smaller minority, but still do that. And they get people from around the world, and it's very helpful for them. So it creates a more diverse workforce, which brings more perspectives, ideas, and innovation if you have people from around the world, not just based here in the US. Now, you want to also address the errors that people tend to make around hybrid work and remote work. And that's cognitive biases. These are dangerous judgment errors that stem from how we are wired. So the status quo bias causes us to be oriented toward what we perceive to be the status quo. For example, managers being reluctant to change the traditional in-office environment where they're used to managing by walking around and they don't know how to do better and they're anxious about this different environment. They're reluctant to change it. The sunk cost fallacy is another one. It's where we are invested into what we have right now and we don't want to put in the effort to change. So that's different from the status quo bias where we're anxious about a new thing. The sunk cost fallacy means sunk costs we invested into what we already have, so investment into the current system, and we're reluctant to change it. So those are two errors I see a lot of managers making. How do you overcome these biases? Well, you need to gather data and conduct your own studies on how flexible hybrid work internally impacts your employee productivity, your engagement, and your turnover. And I can guarantee to you that this data will show you that implementing the flexible work model will boost your employee productivity, engagement, and turnover. Okay, and how do you implement a flexible hybrid work model? It can seem challenging, but it can be done successfully if you have proper planning and communication. You want to have clear expectations and guidelines for the time that workers spend working remotely in this model, such as specific hours of availability, that there's regular communication with team members. These tend to be issues, and you need to think about them and prepare for them in advance. You want to provide your employees with tools and resources, and your managers, of course. So this includes a reliable internet connection, secure virtual communication platform, so Zoom and so on, with appropriate security. And you want to provide training on hybrid work best practices and technology. A hybrid work consultant can help ensure a smooth transition, so consider that. A flexible hybrid work model is very helpful because, to sum up, the shift in worker attitudes is undeniable. Companies that fail to adapt to this change risk losing talented employees. A hybrid work model is the future for anyone who cares about worker retention, increased productivity, and access to a wide talent pool, and finally, cost savings. All right, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Wise Decision Maker Show. Please make sure to subscribe wherever you checked out the show and leave a review. It helps others discover the show and it helps us improve the show.